109 wins. One is going home. No balls, 2 strikes. And Flores, did he go? He did! And the game ends!
Bro, we got a lot to get into.
Yes, we do.
Just wrapped up last night. I want to give a quick shout out to us. We went back to the tapes, and we had you picking Chicago beating Milwaukee for the World Series, and I put Tampa Bay over San Francisco, and none of those teams are currently alive. So, quick round of applause.
Yeah,
great job. We're great at picks, apparently.
Wow, that was obviously just what we expected. Is the teams that are left. We're about to get into it. Like, this is not the matchups I expected for this round, but let's get into it. Red Sox beat the Rays in 4 games. The 100-win Rays we just always seem to find a way. We're always praising them for getting it done, and they just did not come up big at all. Yeah, like I feel like the fact that the Red Sox beat the Rays was surprising enough. The fact that it was in 4 games was even crazier to me.
Yeah.
Especially because of how good the Rays looked in Game 1. I think
exactly.
That was the game. Rosarena had another great series. We'll kind of get into that, but in Game 1, he hit a home run and then he stole home later in the game. Like, it literally looked like the Rays were just gonna blow past him in the series. And I think, like I said, Randy Rosarena had a great series. He hit .333. His postseason stats are unreal right now.
Oh yeah.
Wander Franco also had a great series. He hit .368, 2 homers. I mean, dude, this dude has ice water in his veins, man. It's crazy. What I thought was interesting, though, was that 2 guys on the Rays really sucked this series, and that was a big reason why they didn't do good. Nelson Cruz, big trade acquisition, didn't do good at all, dude. He hit .176. He did have that 1 home run. I believe it was in Game 1. With the catwalk situation, I think it hit one of the things up there in the stadium or something like that. And Brandon Lau, 0 for 18. This is kind of becoming a story now because he had a really shitty postseason last year, too. I don't know what's up with that, but that's a little strange.
I would say, because he was on my fantasy team, and I remember the first 2 months he didn't hit, but he was great after that. So,
dude, I think he ended with 99 RBIs and 39 homers or something.
Something
with the regular season. So,
man.
And I remember they were talking about it all last year. He had a shitty postseason last year, too. That's now that it's been 2 seasons, that's something to look at for next year if they make the playoffs again, for sure. Aside from a Rosarena and Franco, the Rays didn't really do much. And Boston was kind of the opposite.
Yeah, Kike, 450 with 2 bombs, 1329 OPS. Devers, 2 bombs. JD batted .467. Nick Pivetta looked very good. 3.12 ERA over 8 innings. So,
he was coming out of relief, and I think he start one of the games too. I don't know. Pivetta was just a beast that whole series.
Right, and I even just thought because you had mentioned at the Game 1 they looked down, but even Game 2, I'm pretty sure Sale got bombed in the beginning. And I was like, this is just it. There's no way.
I feel like the score of that game was 14-6 or something. And you're right though. Sale got lit up in the beginning, and Boston.
It was 5-1 Rays or something early.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting about this series was the Rays had a lot of rookie starters, starting pitchers. And no starting pitcher on the Rays had an ERA below 7.36 in this series. Obviously, it's a small innings sample size, but still, I know that McClanahan had a good first game, but then when he pitched, I believe in Game 4 he pitched or something, he did not look good. Shane Baz had literally only had 3 starts in the big leagues before his first postseason start. I get the guy is supposed to be good, but I don't know how you put him in that situation.
No, and see, this is kind of we talk about how genius they are, but this front office, and they are, but if you're not going to give out the money to Charlie Morton or Snell, I don't know, okay, like so now maybe I'm not so shocked that like Shane Baz
Yeah,
and McClanahan aren't gonna get it. That like I don't know. That seems kind of stupid in retrospect. I don't know.
it's almost like they think too much sometimes if there's a way to do that, and like this way they were kind of just like using the bullpen like they did in the regular season,
Use
and like
bullpen a lot.
I mean, God, the guys were gonna get like so tired, and they did obviously because the bullpen didn't look great either. Like some guys did good. I think Fireheisen had a great postseason, but like and again too, it's not their fault that Tyler Glasnow got hurt. Like that
That's
was kind
true.
of something that you didn't see it coming. If they had
Mm-hmm.
Glasnow, this series might have been a lot different because like he's top 10 pitcher in the league. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like they didn't have the right idea when it came to bullpenning. Like Colin McHugh had a great season, and then he started Game 4, and he didn't do too good.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was just like it was interesting because like you knew the Rays were going to do this from the start, but before the series started, I think you and me both thought it was going to work out, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just didn't. Um, yeah, I don't know. It was very interesting, but good for the Red Sox, man. They're kind of surprising everybody right
They're
now.
no, they're on the run right now, man. So
I think, dude, Kike was a beast. Didn't he have like 7 at bats in a row where he got a hit too, or something crazy like
I would
that?
believe it. I mean,
I think like he had 9 hits in the series, but I think there was a point where he had like 7 at bats in a row with a hit. It was kind of, I think that was a new record or something. But
and his
like
regular season was fine, but like this is shaped up to
yeah.
be a great signing.
I
So
mean, yeah. If you think about it, Boston had some great moves, like with postseason players who have played in
yeah,
the postseason already. Like whether it's Kike, Kyle Schwarber had a great series. Guys that have experience. And to me, I'm saying it right now. Pavetta is looking like Eovaldi did in the 2018 playoffs, like a
mm,
starter coming out of the bullpen already. He's already looking
okay.
like that, and I feel like he's going to keep doing that against Houston and maybe the World Series if they make it there.
You know, it was one thing I just remembered right now: the play with Renfro in the outfield where
Oh
Kiermaier
my
hits it.
God, yeah.
So I mean, obviously, if you haven't seen it, we're not gonna be able to describe it like a video would be able to. But that's that was a
That
huge
changed the whole
trade.
series around because
Honestly, and that's the
yeah,
thing. I don't want to say like, oh, the Red Sox got lucky or something. They played
no,
great, but it was a huge play, and it
it
was that's
was.
the rule, But
The umpires did get it right too, which like in
yeah,
the
no, there's
beginning I
no debate
wasn't
on
sure.
that. But
And yeah, it was like I mean, the thing that I thought was funny too is that like Renfro didn't not grab the ball on purpose. Like when it hit him, he went to grab it and he just couldn't reach it. So Renfro had no idea what the rule was either. That's the thing.
Renfro
Like
fielded
as
that
it was bouncing
terribly,
over there,
but it was
I
almost like he
yeah.
planned it. Honestly,
Right. But then you could tell that he didn't because as the ball was going over the fence, he was trying to get it. And then he
mm-hmm.
just didn't have the reach to get it. But like, can you imagine it's doing that and then he actually grabbed it? Like the Rays probably would have won that game. So that was
Baseball is so
interesting
weird.
too.
That's just such a bizarre thing, and like,
Yeah, and like
there's
I
nothing
could
you can do
tell why
about
the
that if
Rays
you're the
were mad.
Rays.
No,
So
there's nothing you can do about it. And like the next day, I think to the first batter of the game, Renfro almost made another shitty play out there, but he ended up catching it. Rosarena like ripped one out there, and Renfro like caught it near his shoes. He should have dove or whatever, but like
yeah,
regardless, I mean, yeah, that was a kind of a game-changing thing. We're gonna talk about. There's a few different things in each series where like they kind of changed the series around.
yeah.
So this one was a really weird play though. But you know what? In the playoffs, you never know what you're gonna see. That's the thing. So
No, exactly. That's why we watch.
yeah,
So let's shift over to Astros and White Sox. Like I think we all knew Houston was good, but I also think we thought the White Sox were like World Series contenders at least like a month or two ago, and
yeah,
they kind of look like shit, man. Like no, we had no starting pitcher, lasting longer than 4 1/3, and give up at least 2 earned runs. I mean, you said Luis Robert was going to look good, and he did. Like, he
yeah.
got 467.
Man, I mean, if
Um,
you're gonna look at the offense for Chicago, like that really wasn't the issue.
yeah.
I mean, like Abreu was the beast, which who would have expected anything less from Abreu? He's awesome. MVP last year, he hit 357. Tim Anderson, also, dude, his postseason stats are nuts too. Like last year, he got a bunch of hits against Oakland in that series. This year, he hit 368.
Mm,
You know, I think like Larry Garcia had a huge homer in Game 3, the one game that the White Sox won.
yeah.
Grandal also had a big homer that game too. Grandal looks better. I believe he didn't really have great postseason numbers coming into the series, but like the pitching was the issue, obviously. In game one, Lance Lynn did not pitch well at all. Game
We
two,
hyped up this rotation of
yeah.
Lynn and Giolito and Rodon, and
I
even
mean,
the bullpen was
Giolito
looking
didn't
great,
look
and just
terrible.
none of it came together.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like Giolito was okay, but then he left guys on, they took him out, and then the bullpen let the runs in. So like he didn't pitch
Hmm.
terribly, but and then like Rodon actually looked relatively good, except for that Correa hit, which, dude, I mean, again, we can say whatever we want about the Astros. That's irrelevant to the fact that when Correa was up at that moment, I think everybody watching the game was like, fuck, like he's about to get a hit. And
Yeah,
like I also didn't understand why they didn't take Rodon out and put in the righty to face Correa. Not that it probably would have mattered because
it's a
Correa does
tough
great in
call.
those
Yeah,
situations anyway, but yeah, Rodon looked great. I mean, the Astros offense was just pretty much the story, and Lance McCullers, I guess you could say too.
yeah, that's a great 0.84
But like,
ERA.
yeah, their offense was just like unstoppable though, man. Altuve, Brantley, both hit above 300. I think Bregman did too.
Well, I guess the
Um,
other thing too is they've been here so many times before. Like I
right.
can't imagine like this feels like any different to them now. Like, oh, it's a postseason, like, they're just like home to them. So
So yeah, I agree with that. And like I think that their goal in the beginning of the season is just to get in, like to the playoffs. They don't care. Like I really don't even think they would give a shit if they were like the second wild card team. Like
mhm.
as long as they get into the playoffs, they think that they can win the whole thing. And like again, going back to those earlier years, there's some clouds over there. But recently, the past 2 years, they got in and they were one away from the World Series last year. This year, it's going to be a great series against Boston because it's a rematch too of the 2018 ALCS.
Right,
So
right.
that should be a good series also. But man, it's going to be different next year though if they don't bring Correa back because I don't think they'll
Yeah,
have the
that's
same
true.
postseason mojo. He's a free agent. Um, I don't know, man. Craig Kimbrell didn't look good in the series for Chicago though. Liam Hendricks let up a homer to Altuve in the last
Hmm.
game. I don't know, man. The Astros are a good team, and it pains me to say that, but it's the truth. So
Yeah, 5 straight ALCSs. I did
yeah,
not I did not realize that when I first heard it.
you
That's
know
crazy.
that's the first time a team has gotten five in a row since I think like the Braves got eight in a row in like the '90s or something. So it's been a
Eight
while.
in a row? My God.
I think so. Yeah,
I mean,
that was
that
when
team
they
was
had
nuts with like
Smoltz,
Smoltz and
Glavine, yeah,
Maddox and all, but
everybody.
still.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
speaking of the Braves, they took down the Brewers in 4 games. I mean, we talked
Ugh.
about, yeah, I don't know. We hyped to the Brewers rotation with Burns, Woodruff, Peralta, and they look fine.
I really
They had
wasn't.
about
They weren't the
3.68
issue.
ERA. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they were not the issue. It's that the offense got nothing done. Um, Kane, Garcia, Yelich, Wong, um, did nothing. Willie Adames struck out about half of his at bats.
Man, Willie Adames was so interesting because like he did, but he also had the highest batting average on the team during the playoffs. It
That
was
says something,
294.
yeah.
So like really pretty much their only offense was like Rowdy Tellez hitting two bombs, which they did score. I believe they scored runs other ways sometimes, but I mean Tellez had those were like cranked, dude. Both of those homers he hit,
Yeah,
like the one in game one and then in the last game.
they were dirty.
But like, you know, you're the Brewers. You're not really supposed to rely on Rowdy Tellez to hit to drive in the runs. Like Yelich, man. I mean,
We
I hope
gassed
that
him
he
up a
proves
lot
us
this
wrong.
season. We were like, oh, he's gonna turn around. He's gonna figure out the playoffs, and he
Yeah,
never did. He never did.
no. I mean, I feel like I don't know if it has to do with the balls being juiced or not, but like
I'm
I don't
not
know,
buying
man.
it.
I'm not in on that, but like I thought it was interesting because like Wong had such a great season and he just didn't do anything in the playoffs. I mean,
Yeah.
Garcia too. Garcia drove in close to 90 runs, I think.
Mm,
And Lorenzo Cain has all the playoff experience from playing in Kansas City, so like
yep.
you wouldn't have really expected this. I mean, but props to the Braves. They've been here a lot too, just like the Astros have recently. Um, and this is their second straight LCS. They're going to be playing the Dodgers. which is a rematch from last year too. So that's going to be interesting.
Oh, true.
But yeah, I mean, Freddie Freeman hit great, obviously, because he's Freddie Freeman. 308, he had that homer off of Hader. I mean, it was just awesome. Jock Peterson, dude, is a stud in October, man. Come on.
Talk about these former Dodgers coming up huge.
Right? Oh, man, it's crazy. Austin Riley has finally broken out, too, and he's hit 333 in the playoffs this year. He's got a homer, 908 OPS. I mean, the problem was the Brewers' offense and the Braves pitching, because the Braves had a 1.54 ERA with 48 strikeouts over 35 innings pitched. And the Braves closer had 3 saves in all 3 games the Braves won. So every game was relatively close. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the Braves blew them out. Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Hader didn't look good. And then when Hader left that homer to Freeman, man, that really shined on the fact that Devin Williams was not there, because that would have been Devin Williams' inning.
That's true. Not that
it would have mattered.
Closed them out, but
no. But it was the 8th inning, so
it's true. Yeah,
that was what happened. I mean, not that. Yeah, again, like, Hader's great, so like, you put trust in him, but like, he wouldn't have been in that situation had Williams been there. So this series was kind of boring, to be honest with you, though.
It wasn't the most thrilling series. No.
I think the most exciting part was when Jock hit that pinch hit 3-run homer.
Yeah.
In Game 3, I believe.
Yeah. Well, getting into Jock's former team, the Los Angeles Dodgers are going back to the NLCS. The game last night was fantastic. I mean, the whole series, like, top 2 teams in the league, it came down to 1 run in the final game. I mean, there's really not much more you can ask for, but
there's not. I mean, this was like the series everybody had been waiting for. By the time Game 5 happened, they both had won 109 games during the season, because the Dodgers had won that wild card game, and then they were tied. So, yeah, it was a great series, and it came down to, honestly, we'll talk about it after we give the stats here, but it came down to a shitty umpire call, unfortunately. So
there were a few pretty iffy calls last night that went the Dodgers' way. And I not trying to make a story about that, but a few stats to get into. Mookie batted .450 with the home run. Will Smith .333 with 2 home runs. Justin Turner went 1 for 20.
Yeah, that was. That's really not something you're used to seeing out of him.
Postseason home run leader all time for them. So he didn't look great. Cody had I believe it was Cody, right? That had the 9th inning hit last night. And man, I think the X factor was Scherzer. So Scherzer, I don't know if you're watching the broadcast last night. The announcer was like, Dave Roberts says Max Scherzer is not available tonight. Max Scherzer says Max Scherzer is available tonight. And ED was like, nah, I'm going in. He pitched a 9th.
And guess what? First career save for Max Scherzer.
Is it? I mean, yeah, I guess that sounds about right. But I mean, 113 ERA over 8 innings, 12 strikeouts. Yeah. So yeah,
I mean,
looked great.
I thought the Dodgers bullpen was just dirty the whole series too. Like, Gratterall, Jansen, Treinen, and Knebel may be the best fucking bullpen in the playoffs right now, in my opinion. I mean, they had a total of a 2.70 ERA and 16 strikeouts over 11 innings pitched this series, those top 4 guys. So, good luck hitting against any of them, because...
Right. Well, no, speaking of the bullpen, I thought the move last night was interesting. Roberts, like a couple hours before the game, says Knebel is starting. And at first I was worried because I thought Urias was hurt. But no, it was just a matchup thing. So they went Knebel. I believe Gratterall was next. And then in the 3rd or the 4th, they put in Urias. So
they did.
Kind of similar. I mean, we've seen this a couple of times. I think even the Yankees did this a year or 2 ago.
Yeah,
for a matchup standpoint. But it's just like they're playing chess out there, and it's fun to see like the games happening like before the game.
Yeah, it was funny too, like, because you want to fuck with the lineup is really what the main thing was that the Dodgers were trying to do. And so really though, what they did was they made Darren Ruff started the game, and he's a right-handed outfielder, first baseman. But if they put him in the starting lineup because they knew he would probably face Urias at some point, and guess what? When he faced Urias for the first time, he went deep. But he got out against Knebel, and I don't know if he faced Gratterall or not, but like,
Yeah.
so you kind of traded an out earlier in the game when if you had a lefty in there, you might have been able to get a hit against Knebel and kind of set the tone early. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was interesting, but then
Yeah.
rough having him in the lineup worked out because he did homer off Arias. Yeah, I mean the Dodgers. I don't know, man. They've had some interesting things, but it worked out. So
Yeah. On to for San Francisco. I mean, Chris Bryant looked great.
yeah,
1147 OPS. Posey 850 OPS. Couple other things against you. Mike Yastrzemski went over 13, so he essentially did what Brendan Lau did.
yeah,
Yeah, no, he was second on the team in home runs this season, so it's pretty
yeah.
disappointing,
That
especially in the
was
career he's put at this point.
man. Yeah, I know that was interesting. Like I heard them talking about it on the broadcast yesterday, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, like that's not a guy you picture to go 0 for 13, but Brandon Lau wasn't either. I don't know, man. I just feel like maybe some guys haven't found that like postseason had a hit in the postseason yet. I don't know. It's strange,
Yeah.
but
I mean, there's not. I feel like on their standpoint, there's not a lot of bad stats to get into. I mean, the rotation was very, very good for the most part. Webb looked fantastic. I mean, he's officially broken out if he hadn't already.
yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
and Alex Wood was good. I mean, I guess it came down to Kevin Gausman and Anthony DeSclafani did not look good in their starts.
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty sure Gossman went 5 innings maybe and let up 4 runs, which
Uh-huh.
I mean that's not terrible. It's not great, but I know DeSclafani only lasted like an inning and 2/3,
Yeah.
and I think he let up like 5 or 6 runs. Yeah, they weren't good, and like the bullpen was kind of interesting too. Like Duvall, who was a beast, and unfortunately for the Giants, he let up the hit to Bellinger, but that dude has
Yeah.
been sick for the past like 2 months. Him and I think Tyler Rogers, or is it Taylor
Yeah.
Rogers? Tyler
Yeah, one
Rogers,
of
I think.
those. Yeah.
They combined for a 2.45 ERA over 7 innings in the playoffs this year at the bullpen. But like Jake McGee, who was the closer there for most of the season, and a few other guys, I think it was Garcia, Leon, Leon had a good season too, and
Yeah.
Little. They all combined for a 9.96 ERA out of the bullpen.
Wow.
Over like 8 innings. That's not very good. So
You know, I will say I do feel like this roster got everything it could have out of it. Like
yeah,
and I don't think there's any luck or flukiness to it, but I don't know, they achieved to like I don't know how to word this, like the max point, honestly. So
no, I agree. Yeah, I think
um
especially like acquiring Bryant, this was where you expected to get when you got a guy with that postseason pedigree, and like it wouldn't have surprised me if they made it to the CS and they beat the Dodgers too, because it was very close. But
no, yeah,
you know, I just think that like that all the veterans suddenly had like great seasons, and like the Giants should be proud of this season. I know it's early on, and like they're gonna have to take this loss with a grain of salt right now, but they had a great season. Gabe Kapler was awesome, and let's face it, they won 109 games total this season when no one
yeah,
expected them to be above third place in the division. So,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it was a great series, though. This was definitely the best series out of the 4 that we had.
yeah. No, agreed. All right, so a little preview of each series. I'll go with Boston, Houston first.
Okay.
Just look at the infield. Some like great matchups. Correa against Bogarts, Bregman against Devers.
Mm-hmm.
Like shifting to the outfield, Renfroe against Tucker. Center, I feel like Boston Kike has the advantage over Jake Myers. And then get into the rotation. It's funny, like you're looking at these names and like they don't really stand out to you, but you want to see if Sale gets it back together. Like we said, Pivetta looked great.
Yeah.
And the huge factor for Houston, Lance McCullers has not officially been ruled out, but he's likely to miss this series. So
Yeah, that's a killer, man. If they don't have him this series, that's a game changer, really. I mean, again, Houston could survive it, but like that would be tough, man.
I mean, like the rotation without him is Valdez, Greinke, Garcia, Odorizzi. Like doesn't seem like a World Series rotation, but
Yeah, and like
well,
Framber's awesome. Framber's good.
yeah.
Greinke hasn't been the same. I mean, Odorizzi hasn't really either. Garcia had a good game against the White Sox. I believe in the beginning at least, but then he kind of got lit up. But I don't know, man. If they don't have McCullers, that's killer. That's just not good, man. That would be like any team. Like that would be like the Red Sox losing Eovaldi or the Dodgers losing Scherzer for a series. Like he's like that to that team. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, no, when he's had injury issues in the
yeah,
past, but when he's on the field, he's an ace.
yeah,
So
yeah.
where do you think the series goes? Who wins?
I don't know. I like the Red Sox mojo right now. I think Kike is going to have an insane series because Kike was also an Astro. He was drafted by the Astros. So I
Oh,
think,
I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, I think he's going to have a little chip on his shoulder there. JD Martinez also played for the Astros. So,
That's
and they
true.
kind of
That's just
gave
like a
up
while
on
ago.
him.
Wow.
So I feel like they both kind of have chips on their shoulders.
Mm.
I'm going Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are going to do it in 6 games. And here's
6?
why.
Okay.
Even if McCullers is in this series, I don't think he's at 100%. Like, even if they allow him to pitch, I just don't see him being himself, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that if he's not there, the rest of that starting rotation can't handle a offense like the Red Sox. I mean, just think about it. Devers has been great this postseason, like we talked about. Bogarts has been great.
Yeah.
Even Christian Vasquez had that walk-off homer in Game 3. Like, the Red Sox offense is just finding a way to do it. And I think if they continue to use Pivetta kind of as a bullpen guy sometimes too, that's also a big help. I got the Red Sox going to the World Series, man. I think that I
Hurts
don't
to
know.
say
It does.
for you.
It's tough, but you know what? Like this series, it hurts to say for both. I don't really
That's
like
true.
either
That's
team,
true. I mean,
so
you pay both those teams. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Um.
what about you? What do you think?
Yeah. I was originally gonna say Houston, but the more I just think about the run the Red Sox are on, and even like with Sale not looking good at all, they've still made it this far. Like I gotta think at some point he figures it out. He's Chris Sale. I'm gonna go Red Sox in 7.
Okay,
I think it comes down to the end. But yeah, I just this is tough. Like this is pretty even though.
it is very even, and I think like another thing you got to look at too. I believe in Game 1 of the 2018 ALCS, Jose Altuve hit 3 homers in one game, and 2 of them were against Sale. So that's something to
Mm,
look at. I don't know when Sale is supposed to pitch. I don't know if they have their rotation set yet, but
yeah.
I believe it was probably either in Game 1 or 2. So that's something to look at too, because also obviously Houston had a better record than Boston, and Boston was a wild card team. So Houston has home field advantage, which means the first 2 games are in Houston, and then Game 6 and 7 would be in Houston. So the
Right.
middle ones are in Boston.
I'll give you the answer actually right here. So the game is actually the day we're recording. We're recording this on
Right.
Friday. It is
Yeah.
Sale and Valdez for Game 1
Tonight. Okay.
tonight.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, at this point, when you're listening,
Right. It'll be yesterday.
But,
Yeah. But
and then Game 2 on Saturdays, Eovaldi and Garcia. So
okay.
yeah, there's your answer.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean I think it'll be fun to watch because the Red Sox kind of just defeated the best team in the American League, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the Astros view themselves as the best team in the American League, even though they weren't technically. So this will be a good series. But yeah, I got the Red Sox, man. I know you do too. So we'll see if we're right this time.
Probably not. We don't have a very good track
Yeah.
record. But
No,
tell
we
me a little
don't.
bit about Dodgers and Braves. What are you looking at?
So, like I said before, Dodgers Braves, we got a rematch of last year's NLCS. That series went 7 games.
It was a great
so
series.
that was a
Yeah.
great series. Yeah, I mean, just go right into it. The catching is relatively even, but I think I would go with Smith there just because Darno has kind of dealt with injuries sometimes, although
Mhm.
he has been a good player in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we also don't know if Max Muncy will be back in any capacity yet.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think that Cody Bellinger will probably be the main guy at first until he comes back, which, again, Bellinger's actually been pretty good the past
Mhm.
several games, but Freddie Freeman I would take over Bellinger or Muncy, to be honest with you. No
Yeah.
knock on them, but Freddie's just amazing.
Oh yeah.
I think what's interesting to me about the third base thing with Riley and Turner is that Turner had a really, really shitty NLDS, and Riley
Mm-hmm.
had a great one. So I think Riley is gonna have a better series than Turner, to be honest with you. I may be wrong
Okay.
here, but Riley looked really good against some really good Brewers pitching, and Turner
That's
looked
fair.
shitty. So again, Turner's track record is there. I understand that, but
Yeah.
I like Riley over Turner at this point. Halfway through the series, that may change, but right now, that's what I got there. And left field, I would go with Eddie Rosario over AJ Pollock just because he has. I don't know, man. Rosario's swing, he just has that natural pop where like he could knock one out, 3-1 shot if two guys are on. Um, Pollock is going to be right in the middle of the Dodgers lineup, so that's I don't know. I think Rosario though he could really knock into one and like off of Scherzer. Like Scherzer doesn't give up much, but like if Rosario somehow gets his bat into a fastball, man, that could be big.
Yeah. What you got, Bob?
What I think about the pitching though, that's very interesting to me. The starting rotation for both teams, it's so evenly matched, and here's why. I mean, Max Scherzer is Max Scherzer, but like Charlie Morton has great postseason numbers.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And then you got Walker Bueller, but like Max Fried also has great postseason numbers. So, I mean, the top two in each rotation is very similar. Then you could even argue that Urias is the top two in the Dodgers rotation, but
Yeah.
Ian Anderson has outstanding postseason numbers over his career.
Mm.
He's still technically a rookie this year, but I believe his postseason ERA is below 1 in his career because he had a bunch of starts last year, and in his start this year, he didn't let up any runs. Then you got Tony Gonsolin and Drew Smyly as the 4 starters on both teams. You're not really expecting too much out of either of them. So this is so
Right.
even. I mean, when you look at their pitching rotations, who would you take, honestly? Because I don't even know.
I'm still going LA. I think, yeah, just because Scherzer and Walker are Cy Young candidates. I don't know if I could really say about anyone in Atlanta, but yeah, it's more even when you really dive into it. It's more even than you think. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, I think I would go LA, but like, man, I would not be surprised if Charlie goes out there and shoves and Fried and Anderson do the same thing.
Well, I mean, one thing about Charlie is that he saw the Dodgers a decent amount last year. Now, and I mean, the lineups have changed a little bit. They've added and swapped pieces, but like, no, he has experience with this team. I don't remember how he did in the last World Series, but like he's seen them.
Yeah, he has, and like obviously, so he saw them in the World Series, and then like Fried and Anderson saw them in the CS. So like they're very comfortable facing each other, and like same, you could say the same about Bueller and Urias. Honestly,
that's true.
Scherzer, not really, because I mean Scherzer obviously has experience against the Braves being with the Nationals, but not in the playoffs. So, but yeah, I mean the bullpen too. I would say both bullpens are pretty evenly matched, but the way that Jansen has looked so far, I know Smith has looked good too, but Smith scares me a little bit. Sometimes he's a little wild.
Yeah,
like I don't know, man. He's like susceptible to some stuff, and Jansen hasn't looked wild really in the playoffs. So I think Jansen's going to have another good series. To be honest with you,
I mean that's a huge factor because when he's like he could tank them if he doesn't. So
yeah, exactly.
So who you got? Yeah, in how many games?
Well, I got the exact same amount of games as last year, but I think the Braves are going to pull it out. Ooh. I think the Braves are going to win. Man, I don't think Freddie Freeman is going to let them lose again. It's the same series as last year. I think he's about to go off. Freddie Freeman is going to be the MVP of this series, in my opinion.
Okay, that's a hot take. I mean, the Freeman part not, but the fight in Braves taking that. Okay.
Also, like Jock Peterson, like we said, has been great. Now he's coming against his former team. So
he's got the chip on his shoulder. Yep.
That'll be cool. I mean, I think it's hard for me to say if we're going to have high-scoring games or not because both offenses are great, but both pitching staffs are great. So I really don't know here. What do you got? I mean, this is a really evenly matched series, I think, too. I think they both are really evenly matched series.
I feel a little differently. I think it's Dodgers in 5 and that's not to say the Braves haven't looked great and that it is pretty evenly matched. I don't know, man. I just look up and down like this roster for them. Like this is the team that won the World Series last year, and then they went out and got better. Sure, they lost Kirsch. Like I'll give them that, but still,
Yeah.
like this team's loaded. So I think they take them in 5, and they're going back to the World Series. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think any way the World Series goes is going to be interesting. Honestly, it's going to be a great series, whether it's Red Sox Dodgers rematch of 2018, or it's Braves Astros, Braves Red Sox. Whatever it's going to be a fun series. But I think these are really evenly matched. No, you disagree with this one, but I think both series are really going to be evenly matched. But yeah, so I think that this one starts Saturday, which is when we should be dropping the episode.
Right.
I think this series starts tomorrow. So yeah.
Couple injury questions again too. We touched on Muncy. Dave Roberts says there's a small chance he returns to the NLCS. So I don't know. We'll see. But,
yeah, we'll see there.
McCullers, like we said, he left his start in Game 4 against Chicago. Right forearm discomfort. That never sounds good.
No.
And status is unknown for the LCS, but it seems unlikely. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like anything forearm. Just
yeah,
nothing.
you never like that. That's always TJ's in the back of your head. So hopefully that's not the case there for Lance.
Yeah. And then the last one again to Jorge Soler was placed on the COVID-19 IL on October 12th. He tested positive.
Excuse me.
He will not be eligible to come back until October 21st. So that would be Game 5 of the LCS if that happened. So
man, in my opinion, this is a big blow for the Braves, but I also think that if they're kind of hanging around in the series, or even if the series is tied 2-2 at the time, Soler coming back is going to be a big boost, because I believe the rule with the COVID IL is not the same as a guy getting replaced on the roster with an injury. Like, he can just come back. It's not like he has to miss this series.
Okay.
The COVID IL is just you quarantine for 10 days and you can come back. So he's going to come back for Game 5 if necessary. I'm assuming there's not going to be a sweep, but you never know. But anyway, I think that Soler had a great run with the Braves. He was kind of their leadoff guy for most games against Milwaukee, too. He's had a great season. So I think that's a big blow to miss him. But if they're doing good in the series and then he comes back, I mean, that's a great addition halfway through a series, in my opinion. Hopefully he gets to come back. So, because, I mean, he's got the pop, man. He's a great power hitter. And he's really fit in with the Braves, too. If you've seen, I know the Mets played the Braves a lot. You probably saw him out there.
Decent amount, yeah.
So, we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully he gets to play the Game 5 and there's not a sweep for either team. So,
yeah, that's such a tough break. I don't know if he was vaccinated or not, but regardless, like, that's still just like no rhyme or reason for that. So I think we saw it with Turner last year. In Game 6 of the World Series. So
yeah.
Okay. And then wrapping up with some news, Cubs have hired Carter Hawkins as their new GM. He was the assistant GM with Cleveland 2016. So he's been burned by the Cubs before, but now he's going to the dark side.
Yeah.
And reports are indicating that Yankees will most likely keep Aaron Boone as their manager following the World Series completion and give him a new contract. That sounds about right. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about Boone, but I feel like he's definitely earned that.
Man, it's interesting to me. Like, I like Boone a lot, but I mean, I don't know. Something seems off with the way it's happening, because we were a win away from the World Series, and then Boone came in, and we haven't really been close. Like, we played Houston in the CS in 19, but they kind of took care of us. However you want to look at that, cheating or not, we don't know anything for sure. So you can't really think about that. I mean, I like Boone. I think that if they got rid of Boone, they would probably just bring someone similar in that's just going to listen to the front office. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I feel like they kind of need somebody like a little bit old school, but I do like Boone. So I don't know. We won't know for sure until after the World Series is ending if they're actually going to keep him.
That almost becomes more a conversation about Cashman then, because I think like he's going to have to say no matter what manager they pick. So
I know. What I think is interesting, I think what's going to happen is that Cashman is going to give Boone a 1-year deal, because Cashman's contract is up after next year. Not that I think he's going anywhere, but he doesn't know. So I think he'll probably give Boone one more year, and then who knows? I mean, I don't think Cashman would leave. He's been there for 20 years. He's got a lot of World Series wins, but
Right.
you never know what's going to happen there. But I thought it was interesting too. We did not renew the contracts of our hitting coach and our assistant hitting coach, and also our third base coach, Phil Nevin, who famously sent Aaron Judge and got him thrown out at the plate. So we kind of knew that was coming, unfortunately, because I liked Phil Nevin as a coach, but you know what? If you fuck up like that in the playoffs, I don't think you're coming back.
Yeah. The hitting coach. That's interesting though. I mean,
I know.
It's a streaky team. I mean, these guys Stanton obviously figured out towards the end. Judge is always consistent. And he's like the one guy that is probably.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. That's a tough call on the hitting coach, or is it just who these players are? Like I feel like you have so many like
I know
Gallows and all these hit or miss guys. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think when we get into the offseason, we're gonna have a lot to talk about with a lot of teams, but the Yankees changing some stuff is going to be a big thing we're going to talk about, I feel like. So we'll see what happens with Boone once the World Series is over, but he still has a couple weeks until that happens, so we'll see.
And then the most surprising like non-playoff news I felt was Cardinals are parting ways with Mike Shildt after philosophical differences.
Like, what does that even mean?
Well, that's what when I first read, I was like, what? Why would you ever let him go? And now I'm like, well, yeah. Well, I mean, we're not. The thing is, we're probably not going to find out. But
no, I don't think
there must have been a huge sort of disagreement on something. I know. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like the manager. Obviously the manager has some power, but what could he possibly have felt that wasn't? You know what I mean? That would really sway the team that way. So, I don't know. I
mean, the man literally had a 17-game win streak with the Cardinals this year and pretty much pushed them into the playoffs. Like, what else do you want from him as a front office, though? Like, I don't know what else you would want from your manager. Like, besides that, I mean, it doesn't really make any sense.
I would have to think of just something major. Because, this looks odd. I mean, they went to the playoffs 3 straight seasons. Yeah, they had that run towards the end. Like, so he knew towards the end of the season how to get done with them. So
and plus, Mike Shildt was like a guy who was a minor league manager for like almost 20 years in the Cardinals organization before he got this job.
Okay.
It's like he's been with the organization for a long time. Like you said, like something major had to have happened because he obviously, if he was in the organization for that long, he had a good relationship with the owner and the general manager and everything. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where they're going to go with this. Like, I don't know if they're going to try to hire a younger guy, being Shildt was a little bit older. I don't really know what they're going to try to do here, but the Cardinals aren't a bad team, so.
No, they were 2 runs away from knocking off, the Dodgers, like the reigning champions. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Odd way to end the season, but.
Really is, yeah.
And then last one, Padres are still looking for a new manager. They have narrowed down a list of candidates, so just run through a few of them. Bruce Bochy, I didn't know actually managed him from 95 to 2007 and won the pennant with him in 98. I had no idea about that, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Buck Showalter, I mean, one thing, he has a relationship with Manny Machado when they were in Baltimore.
Right. Yeah.
A few others, Jeff Bannister, John Gibbons, Ron Renicky. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Man, it's so funny. Like, all those names are like what we grew up with, those managers. Like, Bannister was the Rangers.
I recognize like basically all of them. Yeah.
Gibbons was with Toronto for a long time when they had that run when they were making the playoffs, I believe, for like 2 or 3 years in a row. Yeah, I think like the Showalter Machado relationship is interesting to me because like it looked like at the end of the year, Machado Tatis, there was just some stuff going on. Like, you maybe want to get someone in there that kind of knows one of those guys to take that. I think Showalter was a great manager in Baltimore. I don't see Bruce Bochy coming back, to be honest with you, especially because of all the success he had in San Francisco. But can you imagine the storyline if he did? His first series back in San Francisco, that would be something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever they do, each guy they're looking at has extensive managerial experience, so they're not going with a young guy. which, again, that's kind of what I thought the Yankees might do if they didn't bring Boone back, but it doesn't look like they're going to do that. But, I think that Tingler kind of just got fired because they had to have a scapegoat. I don't necessarily think it was his fault that the Padres did so bad.
No. I mean, we went into this last week, but
it was just
an odd
shitty situation for him. Yeah. So.
And then last couple things to get into, Mets are also looking for a GM. They are reportedly eyeing David Stearns from Milwaukee to possibly take on that role.
I mean, I guess Stevie could do whatever the fuck he wants, but I don't see Stearns leaving Milwaukee, really. I think he, loves what he's got there. He's burned to the playoffs for 4 straight years. I mean, I think he's kind of...
Yeah, unless he wants, a change of scenery or something. But, keep an eye on that. And then in the midst of the Astros postseason, shifting that for a second, Carlos Correa was being asked questions about free agency, and he was like, "Hey, I think I look good in the pinstripes, and I love the East Coast." But he didn't say what color the pinstripes are. Are they a dark blue, like the Yankees? Are they a little light blue and orange, like the Mets? I mean, I will say a lot of Mets fans were hyped about this. Where would he play? Is he gonna, unless he replaced Baez?
Well, so here's my thing. Okay, I think he more so meant the Mets, and here's why. He is from Puerto Rico, just like Lindor and just like Baez. And guess what? They all played in the World Baseball Classic team together. And guess where they played? Correa played third. Lindor played short. Baez played second.
Bro, that infield would be sick, though. I would be so sick.
Man, I'm just going to, I don't want the Yankees to get him, but that's not why I'm saying what I'm about to say. I don't think he wants to come to the Yankees. Judge is here, who fucking hates him. Gary doesn't like him. Chapman doesn't like so many of the Yankees don't like them. So I don't think he would come to the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees would ask him to come. I think he meant the Mets. I really do, because I mean, it just makes too much sense, man. You guys don't really have a third baseman right now. I guess McNeil or JD, but if you guys could sign Correa to play third, that would make a lot more sense.
God, that would be one expensive infield, though, because we haven't also paid Pete yet.
I know.
It might be the best. It would be the best infield in baseball, but that would be our entire payroll.
But hey, man, Steve Cohen has all the money in the world, so
Uncle Stevie, open up the pocketbooks.
See, regardless though, why the fuck is he answering questions about that in the middle of the playoffs for the Astros? Don't you want to focus on right now?
Sometimes it's weird how they word the question stuff, but he did give him a fairly concrete answer. He could have been like, "Oh, I'm just focused on Houston right now." Yeah, that's kind of odd. I actually didn't even think about that.
He's pretty much saying too that he's not coming back to Houston. Pretty much, he's like, "I'm not coming back here." That's pretty much what he said. So that's kind of strange. But
remember when Garrett Cole, right after the World Series, minutes later, was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of done. I'm not coming back."
Yeah, we thought that was bad enough, and now he's saying it.
Yeah, no, this is
runs. So.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. But wrapping up, give me what we have for stat of the week.
So stat of the week, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Rosarena had another great postseason. It's unfortunate that he didn't get to go to the World Series again, because he would have put up amazing numbers again. But regardless, with his postseason officially over, here are his career stats in the playoffs so far. He's got a .354 batting average, 11 homers, 17 RBIs, 1.197 OPS, 3 stolen bases, which include 1 steal of home, 23 runs scored, over 110 at-bats, and that's 29 games played. That's unbelievable. I mean, he's still a rookie, technically, too. So he just has another switch in October, man. I don't know what it is, but you know what? The Rays better extend him, because you don't want him going anywhere.
If they're going to pay someone, you got to pay him. 20. I don't know what a good postseason sample size is, but 29 games is I feel like it's fairly substantial.
Yeah, I mean, for a team that's I think it's substantial enough. That's about a month of games played. In October, that pressure packed baseball. man, I mean, the fact that he's still so young is just crazy too. It's not like he's a 30-year-old who just hit his peak. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know how, like when George Springer was doing what he was doing in the playoffs, like I feel like he was closer to 30. Randy's only like 24, maybe younger than that. I don't even know how old he is, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, if the Rays make the playoffs again next year, look out because he's not slowing down in October.
Agree. Like, I just want to see more of this,
I
Like,
know.
I'm
Yeah.
non-biased opinion, but
Yeah.
damn. Well, that wraps it up for the Division Series for us. We will be back next week to recap Championship Series and preview the World Series. So we had, who did I say? We said Dodgers and Boston, I think is what my pick was, right?
And I said Braves Boston, so we'll see who's right there.
Imagine if it's Dodgers Houston again, though. That'd be.
That would be pretty cool too, to be honest. I mean, I don't. That would be, man. Talk about heated series. There'd
Well, I
be
guess
some.
either way it'd be a rematch, but yeah, no, I'm here
There'd be
for
some up and in pitches. I'll tell you that.
bro. Please give me all of it. But
That'd be great.
all right, take care, guys.
Yep. See you guys next week. Enjoy.